Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Welcome back to 4 Strategy Gaming. I've got another StarCraft 2 commentary for you today. This is going to be between OTL's Olivia and Liquid HayprO. The map that we are on is Nerazim Crypt. We can see right here in the upper right corner, we do have Olivia as the red Terran player, and down over here in the bottom left is Liquid's HayprO as our blue Zerg player. As you can see on this map, we do have 4 spawn locations. Liquid HayprO spawn over here in the bottom left, and there's this spawn position and this possible spawn position as well. Situated right in the middle are 4 Zelnaga towers, certainly something to keep in mind. Not a bad idea to try to gain control of. Right outside the main, of course, we've got the natural expansion, a little bit of destructible rocks to help formulate an early wall. However, later on the road, those can be destroyed by the opposing player to try to bust on through. And then if you move on a little bit further, you've got a third expansion over here, and then a possible third expansion on the opposite side of that. And obviously, same thing would be the case over here for Olivia. So back over here inside of Olivia's main base, we can see does have the wall coming on through, supply depot being built, of course, right at the front. Very necessary to keep those Zerglings, those pesky Zerglings away. We do have HayprO moving around with the Overlord Scout, and he looks like he will be heading on over into this position. However, unfortunately for him, Olivia is not over there, so we will want to see an additional scout for HayprO, and HayprO will be sending this Overlord as well to Neander right on over here. And I'm actually wouldn't be surprised if he just chills out here for a second just to see when and if the SCV Scout does come down, and he wants to be able to spot if there's any type of bunker harass, anything fancy like that. In fact, as we can see, Olivia starting things out over here with the racks situated right over here, and he doesn't have a second gas coming out, and there's a second rack, so we're going to be opening up with 2 racks, pumping out Marines, going for some Marine and bunker pressure early on, and then moving into an expansion. Certainly can be very effective, and very nice to see Olivia actually try to come out with this. Keep in mind, very wide open, very wide open map in all honesty, and because of that, I mean, we do have these, little choke points kind of here in the center, but there's lots of room for Zerglings to kind of swoop up around and move behind your forces, and as such, the middle of the map, fairly strong position for Zerg players. Something that we could see Olivia do is one pushing out, even getting the high ground with some tanks and stuff like that. That can certainly be very effective. And just basic things like this, taking a look at the map that you're on and getting a good idea of where, for your particular race, where engagements would be good against the opposing players. Now, a general rule of thumb as a Zerg player, you want to engage in wide open areas. That allows you to hit from multiple angles with your Speedlings and Banelings, Roaches, whatever you have, and kind of overwhelm your opponent. And that's one of the main focuses as a Zerg player. However, as a Terran or Protoss player, you like choke points. As Terran, you like choke points for the fact against a Zerg player for being able to lay down a lot of splash damage with your siege tanks. As Protoss, you love choke points for force fields and for your Colossus and Size Storm. So all things to think about and keep in mind when you're playing. And here we go, lots of Marines heading across the map. We also have a couple SCVs moving on down as well. The first SCV in the main base. Now, HayprO does have that spawning pool up right now as well as that expansion, but here comes that push. Lots of Marines, and I do expect some bunker placement. There we go, bunker will be coming down right here. Would have actually liked it a little bit closer to the hatchery. He could have laid it down right here, and that would have allowed him to be within range of that with those Marines. There we go. There's that second bunker in that exact position. We've got a couple Speedlings moving down, as well as these drones. We'll be trying to get a full surround. Marines trying to prevent that by microing back as much as possible. Look at all those drones. A big problem right now for HayprO, though, is he's not mining at all, but he certainly needs to do everything he can to stop this aggression, because if these bunkers get up, and it looks like they might, the SCV's just about to finish. However, most of the Marines have been taken care of. Their numbers very thin right now. We do have a couple more Marines over here, and going to be trying to take down this bunker if at all possible. Trying to get us around with those workers. 2 Marines make it on in, so Olivia does have this up, and we'll be able to do a little bit of extra damage. And then once this one dies, he can just scurry his Marines right on over here, and let's see him pull him out. There we go. Moving into the next bunker, and there we go. Continued damage. Staying up as long as possible, and he's just tearing through HayprO's early game units. This is a lot of damage. HayprO probably in a tough spot, and yes, look at that. He is quite a bit behind now. Upon killing these Marines, this is going to help him move up a little bit closer, but still, a lot of damage has been done. One of the biggest things that's really hurting HayprO right now is that his mining is incredibly lackluster in comparison to where he'd like it to be. Finally, that expansion is coming down right now for Olivia. Does have that orbital command up as well, and moving into that refinery. 3 racks at the front are going to be the entirety of his wall. Moving down with a couple more Marines, and Olivia will be trying to do a bit more aggression right now with these Marines. Moving down, again surrounded by those drones. Speedlings coming from the other side as well, and those Marines taking a lot of damage. Unfortunately, looks like the push here. Oh man, look at HayprO, you're so good, haha. But either way, you do have to keep in mind it wasn't completely devastating, but Olivia did do quite a bit of damage. Again, economically is really the biggest thing. HayprO forced to, and just look at that. I mean, unbelievable. Olivia very, very far ahead of HayprO right now in terms of resources that are being gathered. And the primary reason is because HayprO was forced to make speedlings instead of making drones, which he would typically make at that early stage in the game. Typically, again, Zerg players want to start out with only a few Zerglings for scouting purposes, but if you're forced to make Zerglings to defend early aggression from your opponent, then that puts you in a vulnerable position. Actually, grabbing the tower, he will be using that to spot reinforcements and get some free kills. Actually, no, he's heading on back down. He just wants to see where exactly those Marines are going, and he's actually pulling down at this angle. Now, HayprO again forced to try to do whatever he can to defend himself. We have 2 racks coming out, and that expansion just about finished right now. So right now Olivia's in a very, very strong position, all because of that early 2 racks aggression. So he's going to be moving forward, and again HayprO forced to pull off the line there with some workers, getting a full surround on Olivia's Marines, and should be mopping them up again, no problem. And HayprO obviously just incredibly frustrated with this. He's been having a very tough time, and his macro slipping quite a bit. There we go, finally making something there. That was a little bit disappointing. He was sitting at 700 resources. That is not commonplace at all for HayprO. He's obviously on Team Liquid, Liquid being at the front of his name, and you do expect a little bit better performance. But again, probably just incredibly frustrated with the amount of pressure that it's been taken here early game from Olivia. Now Olivia moving on up, getting 2 tech labs. One's over there in that factory. Getting 1 tech lab here in this racks that will be allowing him to get those upgrades for those Marines, stim pack, and that combat shield. And then again, the tech lab going down over here. Looks like it will be blue flame hellions, and yes, it is in fact. So Olivia will be following up that early aggression with some blue flame hellions, trying to do some more economic damage, and that could be really, really bad for HayprO. In all honesty, I am quite a bit concerned. Now HayprO trying to get his bearings right now, trying to get himself back in the game. You can see droning up incredibly hard right now. 11. He's got 11 drones coming on through. He's actually scouting out with his workers, and oh my gosh, sitting there on hold position, made it so that they did not move when they were getting torn to shreds, and at least that stopped them from engaging, which would have made him lose even more. But finally being able to pull away with just those 3 left. Would really just like to see him grab these 2 Xel'Naga towers and then sit 1 Zergling up over here. That would be absolutely fantastic. He would still see the push coming, and then he could see subsequently what it is with the vision from these towers. If he doesn't respond in time once he does lose these 3, then when the rest of the push comes, he actually won't be able to see what it is. So here we go, trying to get some creep spread to give himself that extra vision. A couple Zerglings spotting the front as some defense. Finally, Baneling Nest coming on through. I am really concerned, in all honesty. These Infernal Brainard Hellions are going to be doing a lot of damage. We do have a Starport coming out, so we'll be working his way up into Medivacs. But he's still just massing up these Blue Flame Hellions and going to be trying to do as much damage as possible. Now, moving out firstly with those Marines, he wants to grab the tower, see what is where for his opponent. He wants to know how many forces are out in front of his base and what exactly it consists of. And he's going to try to deny the scouting of HayprO by controlling these towers and then trying to catch him by surprise with those Blue Flame Hellions. We can see actually not engaging right now with the Hellions. Again, he doesn't really want to give it away. Is he going to pull back with the Marines, or is he finally just going to bite and engage? Again, hiding what you're doing for as long as possible is the greatest idea, and you can see again Olivia refusing to engage with that, wants to hit with those Marines so that these Blue Flame Hellions can be a surprise. That's the entire point of that. That's why you move forward firstly with the forces you have. And the Marine's gonna get surrounded right now. We need those Hellions to come out just to protect them. And finally right now Olivia's been forced to engage, and now at this point HayprO will be fully aware of this push coming right now. He's got 16 Zerglings coming through, dropping a Roach Warren in response, coming out with the Spine Crawler. Would even like to see 1 or 2 more. Lots of Banelins coming on through, but here comes those push. The Hellions very, very fast. We'll be moving right over the creep tumors. So again, HayprO being continuously aware of what's going on, forced to come down with this additional queen. He's got a couple more Speedlings moving on through. Roach Warren's not going to be complete for when this push comes, and Olivia going to be doing a lot more damage again. They're dropping down the scans to kill off these creep tumors, and here it comes right now. A couple Banelings moving down, trying to get us around. He wants to force some splash damage on those Hellions if at all possible. It's done a bit of damage, a teeny bit of miss micro there from Olivia. Will be forced to engage these queens, although really not much he can do against them. Those Blue Flame Hellions aren't the best, and there we go. Spine is finally up. Gonna be doing a bit of damage to those Hellions, forcing them right on down. We'll be trying to get a full surround, but oh no, they're lined up, and they're gonna get worked right now from those Hellions. Full surround from the queens, but look at all the workers that have been killed. Oh my gosh, that is unreal. Gonna be stopping those queens right there on the ramp. That'll prevent the Hellions from getting up into the main. But HayprO again taking massive damage. One of the biggest issues right now for HayprO is that he is still on 2 bases versus Olivia's 2 bases. As Zerg, I've mentioned it many times in the past, and it continues to stay true. You need to be above the base count. And no, Hellions sneak it up in the main, trying to do what they can. The Roaches will be engaging, actually splitting up those Hellions. Very nice there by Olivia. And then going to be trying to engage some continuous damage against these workers right now. Roach is finally mopping up, and not after losing a lot more workers. And HayprO's income come. We'll just take a look. This is not going to be pretty. Not good at all in comparison to where Olivia's sitting. Just the constant damage that he has been laying down to HayprO is just, it's been way too much, and very concerned right now for HayprO. We got that Marine tank transition coming on through. The stim pack just about finished. As we can see, the combat shield already finished as well. Those tanks do have siege mode, and we got double tanks coming out. Finally getting reactor down here on the starport for those double medevacs, and some more racks coming out over here as well. So yes, Olivia, he is in a fantastic position right now. We do have a Marine and a couple of Hellions moving across the map. Just wants to get map control, possibly grab those towers over there. A couple of Overlords spread out, but the fact that HayprO is still on 2 bases, we are almost 15 minutes into the game right now, and he is still on 2 bases versus Olivia's 2 bases. I'll say it once more, that's a bad position to be. Absolutely terrible position to be as this very player. You can't really split up your larva off of 2 bases between trying to build drones and enough units to defend against a 2-base Terran or Protoss push. And here it comes right now. I feel like this is going to be the final blow here for Olivia. Unless HayprO can somehow manage something, if he can manage a nice engagement, catching those tanks on siege, that would be huge if he can do that. If Olivia does mess up in that regard, then that can help HayprO get back in the game. But HayprO still isn't making a move to expand right now. He is just making sure that he's trying to mass up enough forces to be able to defend himself. We got some triple hooks coming out for those banelings. Continuous creep spread here again, trying to maintain vision of what's going on. A few more roaches as well as the upgrade speed for those roaches. But here comes the third for Olivia, and this is just again continuously getting worse and worse for HayprO. He really needs to take out Olivia's forces in this upcoming engagement. Whenever Olivia does push forward, he needs to take out his forces, and that's the only way that HayprO is going to be able to get back in this game. But right now, he is just incredibly far behind. Now, we've got a lot of Banelings coming on through. That's going to help tremendously against those Marines. Again, he just has to catch these tanks unsieged. I do want to take a quick look at the army tab. It looks like Olivia is at an advantage as expected. 67, 69 army supply. 71, no, it keeps going up. A large army supply over here versus HayprO is relatively small. In fact, he's almost double right now. 42 as opposed to 74. Almost doubling what HayprO has in terms of army count. So it's really going to come down to this engagement and how it goes through. And there we go. We do have those tanks on siege. If he can try to take advantage of this right now, he will be in a good spot. Vision to the high ground from what? From that Marine. Very nice. Allowing him to actually work on those roaches. They weren't back there. And Banelet trying to move forward as well as those roaches. Trying to catch those tanks on siege. They managed to siege up a little bit late. And the roaches working through that tank count. And unbelievably, oh my gosh, that is exactly what HayprO needed to try to help himself get back in this game. However, there's enough bio to push back the rest of these roaches. A couple Speedlings coming out. HayprO did a good job there. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but he certainly did a good job there. He's actually evened up pretty much. Resources lost count. Olivia is still a bit ahead of where HayprO is, but still that helped quite a bit. Roaches moving forward. Speedlings moving forward to try to engage as well. And oh my gosh, these stims up Marines and Marauders with those medevacs tearing through that roach count. And HayprO's on his back foot right now. He does have the, just leaving the game. HayprO not too thrilled with the outcome of this one. Olivia opened up this game with some 2 racks Marine aggression, pumping out Marines early on, rallying them right to HayprO's main base and dropping down some bunkers. The biggest problem here for HayprO is that this forces him to make Zerglings and pull guys off the line just to deal with this pressure, and as a result, severely hurts his economy. HayprO was eventually able to mop this up, but again, not without taking his losses. Olivia then followed that push up with some Blue Flame Hellions. Now, HayprO knew this was coming, however, he did not have enough resources to properly prepare the defenses needed to stop this from being devastating. The Hellions were able to work through what small defenses HayprO had, work right into the resource line, and absolutely tear through his worker count, further putting HayprO behind. Olivia then moved into his 3rd and 4th expansion and at the very same time pushed out through the middle. Seeing this push coming, HayprO was able to catch Olivia unsieged and actually work right through his siege tanks. However, with Olivia being so far ahead, he had enough bile to be able to mop up the rest of the forces, and with some reinforcements had no problem taking out the roaches and then pushing up for a counterattack and forcing the GG. Alright guys, that about does it. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed this game here between HayprO and Olivia. We'll be moving on to some more games later in the day, some additional StarCraft commentaries, as well as Diablo cast and every other scheduled video for Friday. As always guys, if you like the content, please subscribe. Thanks again for watching. Keep watching and keep owning.